Have you ever wondered why, despite all warnings, humans still feel an irresistible urge to pet wild animals, even dangerous ones? Right now, somewhere on Earth, a grown adult is likely gazing at a bear, pondering, "I wonder if I could pet that." People routinely attempt to pet deer, foxes, raccoons, seals, lions, and even creatures that evolution seems to have specifically designed to discourage any physical contact. Wildlife experts issue stern warnings, zoos erect formidable barriers, and national parks display signs explicitly detailing why such actions are ill-advised. Yet, without fail, every year, someone encounters a bison the size of a small car and concludes, "He looks friendly." Why? What compels us to want to touch everything? The answer traces back to a relationship far older than human civilization itself. For almost the entirety of human existence, our lives were intricately woven into a tapestry of other life. There were no sprawling roads, towering apartment buildings, bustling shopping malls, or sterile office parks. Our world was defined by plants, animals, rivers, insects, birds, and whatever creatures lurked in the nearby grass. Survival hinged on acute observation. A circling vulture could signal a distant carcass. The abrupt silence of birds often forewarned danger. Following animal tracks might lead to vital food, water, or safer refuge. Interpreting the natural world wasn't merely a choice, it was among the most crucial skills any human could possess. Over countless generations, our brains evolved to become extraordinarily adept at noticing living things. In fact, humans are so profoundly sensitive to life that we frequently perceive it even where it doesn't exist. We name our cars, shout at malfunctioning computers, and instinctively apologize after bumping into furniture. Present someone with just a few moving dots on a screen, and they'll immediately begin projecting personalities and intentions onto them, that one looks nervous, that one seems aggressive, that one is following the other. They are, of course, just dots, but your brain processes them differently. For hundreds of thousands of years, mistakenly assuming something was alive when it wasn't was generally harmless. However, failing to recognize something as alive when it truly was could prove to be a fatal error. Thus, evolution relentlessly steered us towards heightened attentiveness. Yet, simply noticing animals is distinct from the profound desire to touch them. To understand this deeper urge, we must delve into an influential concept proposed by the renowned biologist E. O. Wilson. He termed it the biophilia hypothesis. The idea itself is remarkably straightforward: humans may possess an innate, genetically wired attraction to living systems. This isn't merely because nature is aesthetically pleasing or animals are entertaining, rather, it's because our minds were shaped and refined within natural environments over countless millennia. Our brains are inherently designed to comprehend and engage with living things. If this hypothesis holds true, then our pervasive urge to interact with animals isn't strange at all. In fact, what's truly peculiar is our modern existence, spending the majority of our lives encased by concrete, glass, and digital screens. Perhaps the fundamental reason people pause to observe birds, cultivate houseplants, frequent aquariums, or spontaneously pet unfamiliar dogs is that a primal part of the human mind persistently seeks connection with the vibrant, living world that surrounds it. However, this still doesn't fully account for why certain animals seem utterly irresistible. A tiny baby rabbit can elicit a far stronger emotional reaction than a fully grown one. A playful puppy commands more attention than a majestic wolf. And a panda cub. It can practically bring the internet to a standstill with its adorableness. This phenomenon stems from yet another remarkable feature of the human brain. Among all mammals, humans exhibit an unusually prolonged period of development before reaching maturity. A foal can stand mere moments after birth, and young wildebeest are capable of running within hours. In stark contrast, human infants spend years almost entirely dependent on adult caregivers. This extended dependency exerted immense evolutionary pressure, making anything that encouraged adults to nurture their young incredibly valuable. Consequently, over time, babies evolve specific features that automatically capture our attention: large eyes, round faces, small noses, and soft, delicate features. Scientists refer to this universal appeal as the baby schema or Kinderschema. You can observe these very same characteristics echoed throughout the animal kingdom. Puppies, kittens, seal pups, panda cubs, and countless other young animals all share these traits, which powerfully activate the same nurturing systems deep within the human brain. This response occurs with such speed that it often feels entirely automatic. You don't consciously analyze whether something is cute, you simply experience that overwhelming sensation. Once you grasp this concept, a vast array of human behaviors begins to make perfect sense. Spend just a few minutes scrolling through social media, and you're almost guaranteed to encounter a capybara enjoying a bath, a rabbit curled up like a perfect loaf of bread, or a fluffy Highland calf that appears more like a living plush toy than an actual bovine. Millions of people instantly feel an overwhelming urge to hug them. Their brains have already made that decision on an unconscious level. Occasionally, this reaction becomes so intensely powerful that it manifests as something genuinely peculiar. Scientists have even given it a name: cute aggression. If you've ever gazed at a puppy and thought, "I want to squeeze him," you've undoubtedly experienced it. Crucially, you don't actually wish to harm the puppy, quite the opposite, in fact. Researchers hypothesize that this paradoxical response might serve to regulate emotional overload. When confronted with something overwhelmingly adorable, your brain's emotional systems become hyperactivated. The accompanying aggressive feeling then acts as a kind of psychological pressure release valve. This explains why people exclaim phrases like, "You're so cute I could die," or "I want to squish him." Of course, nobody means these statements literally, at least, we sincerely hope not. The core point is that cuteness impacts us far more profoundly than we typically realize. The fascinating truth, however, is that cuteness alone cannot explain every instance of this urge. No one mistakes a formidable lion for a helpless baby, nor does anyone confuse a massive grizzly bear with a cuddly stuffed animal. Yet, people still harbor an intense desire to pet them. Why? A significant part of the answer lies in the act of touch itself. Humans are an exceptionally social species, and physical contact plays a vital role in how we establish trust and nurture relationships. Gestures like handshakes, hugs, holding hands, or a comforting pat on the shoulder can significantly reduce stress and powerfully strengthen social bonds. Because of this inherent need, humans frequently extend these social instincts beyond our own species. We talk to our pets, celebrate their birthdays, confide our secrets to them, and even ask them questions, fully aware they cannot respond. When an animal appears intelligent, expressive, or emotionally relatable, many individuals instinctively begin to treat it less like an object and more like another sentient being. Once this connection is forged, touching it feels entirely natural, a fundamental way of establishing rapport. However, we're still overlooking the most perilous aspect of this narrative: the lion problem, the bear problem, the alligator problem, the very reasons warning signs exist in the first place. Psychologists have long understood that humans possess a distinct attraction to controlled risk. Roller coasters are designed to be terrifying, horror movies are crafted to be frightening, and standing precariously near the edge of a sheer cliff can send your heart racing. Yet, millions of people actively seek out these exhilarating experiences. Why? Because the physiological sensations of fear and excitement are remarkably similar. Both trigger a surge of adrenaline, both heighten your senses and sharpen your attention, and both contribute to making experiences profoundly memorable. Researchers often label this phenomenon sensation-seeking, the inherent pursuit of novel, intense experiences. And few experiences feel more intensely primal than standing in close proximity to a powerful wild animal. A lion, for instance, embodies raw danger. But within the confines of a zoo, safely behind robust barriers and supervised by experienced handlers, that danger feels partially mitigated, controlled. Your brain registers the thrill and excitement without fully engaging its deep-seated risk assessment mechanisms. The outcome is a peculiar psychological cocktail, a blend of curiosity, admiration, excitement, misplaced confidence, and, regrettably, sometimes terrible decision-making. This explains why individuals engage in behaviors that appear utterly irrational to an outside observer. They don't perceive a dangerous predator, instead, they see a unique opportunity to connect with something truly extraordinary. Unfortunately, the animal itself may still perceive its role as that of a predator. Furthermore, another significant factor is at play: humans possess a remarkable, almost innate tendency to anthropomorphize. In essence, we project human emotions, intentions, and qualities onto non-human entities. If a dog appears to look guilty, we instinctively assume it truly feels guilt. If a cat seems annoyed, we presume it experiences annoyance. When a lion appears calm and placid, some people unconsciously interpret this as a sign of friendliness. However, animals are not simply furry humans. A lion can appear perfectly relaxed mere moments before engaging in behavior that is intensely, unequivocally lion-like. The profound mismatch between what we imagine animals are thinking and their actual thought processes and instincts is the root of many dangerous misunderstandings. Yet, despite all these complex factors, the fundamental urge persists. Humans continue to flock to zoos, aquariums, wildlife parks, and nature reserves. We diligently watch bird feeders, bestow names upon the squirrels in our backyards, and continue to form deep emotional attachments to creatures belonging to entirely different species. And perhaps this is one of the most uniquely strange aspects of being human. Most animal species dedicate their lives almost exclusively to members of their own kind. Humans, however, defy this pattern. We forge profound relationships with dogs, horses, parrots, rabbits, fish, cats, and countless other creatures. We welcome them into our homes, give them names, celebrate their existence, and grieve their loss. We collectively spend billions of dollars each year caring for them. A brain exquisitely designed to perceive life, a mind that inherently seeks connection with the natural world, instincts finely tuned to nurture vulnerable creatures, an innate desire for touch, profound curiosity, and sometimes, a craving for a little excitement. All these intricate elements converge, compelling us toward a single, powerful conclusion: to reach out and say hello. Most of the time, this deeply ingrained instinct guides us to form some of the most meaningful and enriching relationships of our lives. But every once in a while, it also persuades someone to attempt to climb into a bear enclosure. And that, ultimately, is why wildlife experts exist, and why, at this very moment, somewhere on Earth, a grown adult is gazing at a majestic lion in a zoo, contemplating, "I wonder if he'd let me pet him."